The night I walked out of that house with every dish I'd cooked stacked in my trunk, I didn't know it would be the beginning of my freedom. My name is May Thompson, and I am 65 years old. If you've ever given your whole heart to someone only to be treated like a chore, like something to be endured instead of cherished, then this story is for you. Because on a cold Saturday night last winter, I stood in my son's kitchen, covered in flour and tears, after spending $800 and 24 straight hours cooking a feast for his party, only to hear him laugh and say, "We might have to feed Aunt May's leftovers to the dogs." And in that moment, I didn't just feel hurt. I felt erased. But what happened next? What none of them saw coming. That was the beginning, not the end. Let me take you back. I grew up in Knoxville, Tennessee, where Sunday dinners were sacred. My mama taught me that food wasn't just fuel, it was love served on a plate. She'd say, "If you can't give money or time, give a meal. That's how you show people they matter." I took that lesson to heart. When I married Harold, I brought it into our home. For 42 years, I cooked for him every morning, scrambled eggs with chives, toast cut just right, coffee poured before he even opened his eyes. He never missed a single day. After he passed from heart failure 3 years ago, the silence in the house nearly broke me. But I kept cooking. Not because I wanted to, but because it was the only thing that made me feel close to him. Then came my son, Jason, and his wife, Sloane. They moved into town after years away, bought a big house in the suburbs, and invited me over for dinner one night. "Mom," Jason said, "you should come more often. Your cooking brings the house together." Those words lit a fire in my chest. Maybe I thought I could still be needed. So I started showing up. First once a week, then twice, then every weekend. I baked pies for holidays, made casseroles for their busy nights, organized entire meals for family gatherings. I did it all without complaint, because that's what mothers do. Or so I thought. Slowly, things changed. Invitations turned into demands. "Can you bring the green bean casserole?" became, "You're making the green beans, right?" My visits stopped being about connection. They became about contribution. One afternoon, Sloane handed me a printed list. "The neighborhood association is hosting a charity gala at our house next weekend," she said. "It'll be formal. About 75 guests. We need you to cater it." I blinked. Cater it? I'm not a caterer. "Oh, come on," Jason said, clapping me on the shoulder. "You've been doing this your whole life. How hard can it be?" Hard? It was exhausting. But I didn't say no. I wanted to belong. So I said yes. For the next 10 days, I worked nonstop. I cleaned out my pantry, drove to specialty stores, spent $800 of my retirement savings on ingredients, prime rib, fresh herbs, imported cheeses. I woke at 4 a.m. to start braising, roasted vegetables in batches, hand-rolled dozens of appetizers. I even made a 3-tier dessert display, chocolate mousse cups, mini lemon tarts, and caramel-dipped strawberries, all arranged on a silver platter I borrowed from my late sister. I put my soul into that food. And when the night arrived, I arrived first, 2 hours early, with my car packed like a food truck. I set up the buffet myself, arranged the dishes, lit the candles, added little name cards, Grandma's famous mac and cheese, Southern peach cobbler. I wanted people to know this wasn't just food. It was heritage, love, memory. Then the guests began to arrive. Men in suits, women in gowns, laughter echoing through the high ceilings. I stood quietly near the kitchen, watching them taste, smile, compliment each other on the flavors. "Who made this?" one woman asked. "It's incredible." "Oh, it's my mother-in-law," Sloane said, waving her hand dismissively. "She does this kind of thing all the time." No thanks. No introduction. Just a shrug, like I was part of the furniture. I stayed in the background, refilling trays, adjusting platters, invisible as always. Then, halfway through the evening, Jason walked past me with a half-eaten plate. He looked down at the food, then at me. "This is good," he said, chewing slowly. "But honestly, if there's any left over, we might have to feed it to the dogs." The room didn't go silent. No one gasped. No one defended me. In fact, a few people laughed. Sloane smirked. And I just froze. My hands trembled. My throat closed. That joke wasn't just cruel. It was a declaration. To them, I wasn't family. I was labor. Disposable. Replaceable. I didn't cry. Not then. I just turned, walked to my car, and started packing up every dish, every platter, every container of food that hadn't been touched. I didn't ask permission. I didn't say goodbye. I just left. As I drove away, the tears finally came, hot, silent, endless. I pulled over on a quiet road, rested my head on the steering wheel, and sobbed. Not just for the insult, but for the lifetime of being taken for granted. For cooking breakfasts that were eaten without a thank you. For birthdays where I was thanked only for the cake, not the care. For being present, but never seen. I didn't go home. I didn't want to sit in that empty house with the echoes of my own loneliness. Instead, I parked outside my nephew Noah's apartment. Noah was 28, a chef who had opened a small farm-to-table restaurant downtown. We were close, closer than blood sometimes. I raised him 2 summers when his mom struggled with addiction. He called me Mama May. When he answered the door, he saw my face and knew something was wrong. Aunt May? What happened? I told him everything. He listened, jaw tight, eyes burning. Then his phone rang. He answered, listened for a moment, and paled. What do you mean the caterer canceled? The Whitmore wedding is tonight. We're serving 120 guests. He hung up, pacing. The main course is already prepped, but the appetizers and desserts, we have nothing. I looked at the back seat of my car, still full of food. I've got enough here to feed 200, I said quietly. Let's go. Noah stared at me. Then he smiled. You're a miracle worker, Mama May. We raced to the restaurant. I unpacked everything, plated hors d'oeuvres, arranged desserts, even whipped up a quick garnish of microgreens from Noah's garden. By the time the guests arrived, the tables were set, the lights were warm, and the smell of rosemary and caramel filled the air. The bride, Dana Whitmore, approached me during the reception. This food, she said, eyes shining. It's unlike anything I've ever tasted. Who are you? Just a grandma who loves to cook, I said, smiling. And clearly, a gifted one, she replied. I run a luxury event planning firm. I'd love to hire you for future weddings. I laughed. I don't have a business. Then start one, she said firmly. People need what you make. Not just food, soul. 2 weeks later, I incorporated May's Table Catering. Dana booked me for 3 events. Word spread fast. Soon, I was catering baby showers, anniversaries, even corporate luncheons. I hired 2 part-time helpers. Bought a commercial oven. Opened a small office above a bakery. For the first time in decades, I wasn't cooking to please others. I was cooking for me. And people noticed. 6 months after the gala disaster, I received an invitation, not to Jason's house, but to a local magazine feature. Women over 60, reinventing themselves. I was profiled alongside doctors, artists, entrepreneurs. The article highlighted my journey, from unappreciated mother to sought-after caterer. Photos showed me in my apron, laughing with clients, arranging flowers on a table. When Jason saw it, he called, Mom, that's amazing. Can we talk? I met him at a diner, neutral ground. I read the article, he said, stirring his coffee. I had no idea you went through all that. Sloane and we were selfish. We took you for granted. I'm sorry. Not just for the dog comment. For everything. I sipped my tea. Apology accepted. But it doesn't mean I'll go back to being your free cook. I wouldn't ask that, he said. I want to get to know you, not just your cooking. Even Sloane reached out later, quietly, humbly. I've been reflecting, she said. You deserved better. If you ever want to teach me one of your recipes, I'd be honored. I didn't rush to forgive. I set boundaries. No more unpaid work. No more last-minute demands. But I did invite them to my first official May's Table launch party. They came, watched, listened. And for the first time, they saw me not as help but as someone. As I stood at the microphone that night, Surrounded by friends, clients, and even Jason and Sloan, I said, for most of my life, I thought love meant sacrifice. That being needed was the same as being loved. But I was wrong. Love means respect. It means seeing someone for who they are and honoring them. I built this business not for revenge, not for fame, but because I finally decided I was worth serving too. The room erupted in applause. Later, an elderly woman pulled me aside. My daughter treats me like a maid, she whispered. Your story gives me hope. That moment, that's when I knew my pain had purpose. Today, May's table is thriving. I've trained 5 women over 50 to join my team. We host monthly second chapter suppers for seniors rebuilding their lives. And every Sunday, I cook. But now I do it on my terms. I call the people I love. I share the meal. And I remind them, food is love, but only when it's given and received with dignity. If you've ever felt used, unseen, or forgotten by family, let this story remind you, you are not a burden. You are not invisible. And it's never too late to choose yourself. If this touched you, please hit the like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and leave a comment telling me where you're watching from. Your voice matters. And together, we can prove that the sweetest revenge is a life well lived.